What's inside the frunk of the Audi e-tron GT? Today, we're taking this apart. So it's a little different. To get into the frunk, there's a button right here for the frunk. And then you have to come over here. And like most cars, there's a little lever here that releases the frunk, and then you open up the hood. Gas shocks lift it all the way up for you, and then you have a decent sized frunk here with compartments over here where you have your tow hook and what is this? Tire mobility system. Not sure what that is. And then on this side you have, actually this says Porsche. This is pretty much a Porsche Taycan. And then you have a tire pump, lug nut tool. So you have a couple of tools in here, and then those just hook on like that. Up front here you also have your windshield washer fluid. Oh, there's a screen in there, so you don't drop anything in. That's really nice. But with all this plastic here, I'm sure we can remove it and see what's inside. I also just noticed this. Inside there's a light with an exit button if you were able to be a small kid inside here. I don't see how you can fit, but there's an exit button right there. Before I take everything apart, I did notice there's some gaps right here. That is the adjustments for the laser headlights. I'm taking my time looking at everything before I disconnect everything because I'm not going to do it that much on this car. I've taken apart my Model Y quite a bit and many other Teslas, but I don't think I'm going to take this one apart that much. So after looking at everything on here, really all you do is just lift up on this and it pops right off. It sits, there's some rubber grommets there, and then a little tab there that sits right inside here and on these pins right here. Pretty easy. And this light, there is a screw down here, and these are bolts. I believe these will probably hold this frunk in place. Now let's do the same thing to this side. Lift at the bottom, pop that out, and it looks like there's two, looks like we'll need deep sockets there. But I'm going to see if we need to remove those first after we remove this carpet. So after I've loosened up the carpet all the way around, it looks like I have to remove the screw that holds on this light assembly. It's just a Torx bit. Probably just disconnect this and remove the light. This is really tricky with one hand, but we got it. Haha. And we remove the carpet. See what's underneath this carpet here. Oh, these are two pieces. Interesting. Interesting layout. Grab this carpet piece. It's not just one bucket, it's actually two pieces. So I pulled the one screw out and it's really not holding anything. It's like almost drywall threads. So we're going to move on to pulling this up. As we pull this up, you can see a lot more. I know there's a lot of people that won't do this to their car, but I like taking things apart. I'm sorry for the lawnmower noise in the background. There's a clip, looks like here. There's probably a clip right here. Clips along the fender. So before we get too much farther, if you can give a thumbs up to this video for me being brave enough to do this. How many people would actually do this to their brand new Audi e-tron or Model Y or Plaid Model S? I would do the same thing to that car too. We're going to pull out from the sides. They're just little plastic clips. There's another one here. Look at this. Looks like we have to remove those windshield wiper arms to get to this. Let's pop this one off the front. Lift up. And yeah, I'm doing this with one hand. Hopefully it goes back together that easy. Keeping in mind how I'm taking these off so I can put them back in the same order. But you can see really nothing's up front here, just some aluminum. Basically this whole car is aluminum. But you got the headlights here, the frunk, which is a bunch of bolts. We'll take that out soon. Let's remove this thing so we can really see what's underneath this. Just push this whole grommet through and lift up. Geez, would you look at that valve system here? It's a twocto valve. It's a 12. Let me bring in with my phone here. Look at this valve system here for coolant. This is ridiculous. Up underneath here, it looks like you have a radiator in here with active valves allowing a bunch of air, and then this is all coolant. These are all coolant lines, it looks like. There's soft rubber tubes. Yeah, they're all coolant lines because you have this. This is one of the reasons why this car can charge so fast. With the 800 volt system, you need really good cooling, and there's a lot of cooling in here. All the orange cabling stuff we don't want to touch, but this is really, really cool. There's some, looks like motor mounts for the front motor. Looks like we got a little pop can there. I don't know what that is. There is a 12 volt battery right back underneath there. Should we pull this off? There's really nothing underneath that. It's just the brake booster. This is the strut tower, made in Germany. This was March 13th, 21. That's when, well, this strut tower was produced anyway. I can't find a date on the actual car. Sometimes there'll be a date on the, like Tesla has a date a month and a year when it was built on the door jamb. If you look on the door jamb sticker here on a Tesla, it'll say a month and a year. This is about the tires and the gross vehicle weight. I don't see a date. You can see right up here is the top of the strut tower, because these have air suspension with 3 chambers of air. I don't know if you can see the chambers. Should we take off one of the tires so you can see? So there is a fuse panel in the e-tron GT. But interesting to see that there's actually fuses in here, which is really cool if you want to add things to this. There's not much you could probably add to this car just because there's a lot to this, but because you don't need a power frunk or anything, but you have fuses you can tap into. So there's the brake booster up here with looks like lines going down to a brake controller. This is probably for, I don't see it say anything on here, but this could be again, I am not an engineer. I don't know what all this stuff is. So if you know what it is, leave it in the comments down below, like a timestamp and everything, so people can learn from this stuff. But this looks like brake lines to me. But because this thing doesn't regen like a Tesla does, but it does have really good regen using the brakes. So the brake system is very complicated. Like most German things, they do over engineer things. But this is the high voltage. This looks like it controls all the voltage in the vehicle, the 800 volt system. Again, all the cooling that needed for this very high energy system. But everything is crammed in here quite tight. There's not much room for anything. This is a very deep well here, because that is a very deep frunk. With these pockets out of here, there's a lot of room in here. So I hope you enjoyed this look at the frunk of the Audi e-tron GT. It's a 2022, a lot like the Porsche Taycan. Like I said a couple times in here, there's some Porsche parts in there, there's some Audi parts, there's some VW parts. Really cool to see all this stuff. I love seeing this, and I know a lot of engineers that watch my channel love seeing this stuff as well. So if you are an engineer and you know what's going on in here, leave a comment down below what things are, because I don't know what everything is on this, obviously. And so we can all learn together. I'm gonna take my time putting everything back together so I get every clip in there so there's no rattles. Surprised I couldn't find the heat pump. Someone point that out to me.